All right, let's bring in the great Jody McDonald to join us on the show. Jody Mac, welcome back. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Anytime I get to talk to you, Steve, it is my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. All right, this is an interesting time. We got four things to talk about because everybody's involved in something right now, some good and some bad.
Right.
Draft comes up. Eagles are in the 20s, and some people think trades could be made. Maybe Howie makes one or not. For you, out of the gate, first couple of picks that they have, what do they have to address?
It will be, I believe it will be more heavy offense. If they've got their first three picks, I would say at least 2 out of 3 will be offense, if not all 3. If the right edge guy is there at 23, if the mocks are a little off and somebody falls, then they could actually go edge rusher with their first pick. My guess is it won't be. I think it'll be an offensive first pick. But edge is the only defensive spot that they'll take, I think, in the first round. They're not going to take a safety unless somehow Downs falls all the way down to him, the Ohio State kid. That's not happening. He's not getting down to the 20s. So it's going to be offense first round. It'll either be an offensive lineman and or possibly a wide receiver, depending on what has been already negotiated behind the scenes between the Patriots and Eagles. If there is an A.J. Brown trade that's going to happen, I don't believe it's going to happen tomorrow or before the draft. I think it's going to have to wait till June 1st. But if it is something that Howie Roseman believes will happen and the Patriots will to pay his price, they could take a wide receiver if a guy is there that they like enough at number 23.
All right. So there's that. And I think they had 2 picks in round 3 to go with this as well. So on day 2, the Eagles are on the clock 3 times, once in round 2, 2 times in round 3. And out of those 3, maybe one of them is a defensive player?
Either an edge guy, and again, it depends on how the board falls, but an edge guy is a possibility. I hope they don't wait until day 3 to take a safety. To me, right now, that is the position that needs the most additions from the draft. They've done what they've done in free agency. They've picked up a bunch of wide receivers. I don't think there's a star among them. And if you trade a star, you'd like to replace it with a star. That's why I think wide receiver could be a little bit of a surprise as the number 1 pick. But I hope they take a safety sometime with those 4 picks in the first 2 days.
Yeah, I think if they get to the last pick and say they haven't done it yet, the guy I think would be a fit, and again, I'm talking about the second pick of the 3rd round that they have. I'm not talking about the first pick, is Akee Wheatley from Penn State. I mean, I look at him and I see an NFL guy with instincts back there that won't wow you on the watch but knows how to play.
And that's the kind of player that they need. They're banking on Makuba being a playmaking type safety. We need to see it. He's got to stay on the field. He made a couple of big plays last year, but they need a stay-at-home, can tackle, smart player, little flexibility never hurts. And the Penn State kid would fill that bill if he's there in the back end of round 3. But then if you wait for him round 3 and he gets picked off between those 2 third-round picks the Eagles have, they might regret that.
All right, now I do have to ask about the Flyers. They have played 6 periods of playoff hockey, and they've been the better team in all 6 periods. What did you see down the stretch, Jody, that made the Flyers a threat to at least have some chance to advance in the Stanley Cup? Because down the stretch, they played really well.
They did, and I admitted this on my show. I'll admit it here with you. I thought these Flyers had a chance to make the playoffs before the season started. They got up to a good start. They have that god-awful month. I even gave them the Olympic break and said, let's see if they can come out of that with strength. And they did, and I was glad that I hung to my belief. And then they got beat by the New York Rangers in their building, and the Rangers were one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. They turned around and lost to Utah as well. I said, all right, the numbers are just against them. They can't do this now. They're screwed. They're out. Sorry, Flyer fans, but this is not the year that they go back to the playoffs. And I had to eat my words, and I was glad to do so because they got as hot as they did. No team had ever come back from as many points back as they were for a playoff spot with as few games left in the season. So this was a historic run they were on. And it was a little bit of everything. They just came together as a unit. The key was Mark Tone's addition. He kind of changed the dynamic of the team. But all season long, they've been playing great, sound team defense. I'm driving home. I went to Louisiana for a couple of days, my wife's birthday. So we're driving back in the car, Sirius XM, the game being broadcast. They used the Penguin announcers, not the Flyer announcers, which was unfortunate, but at least I got to listen to the game while I was driving home. And between the second and third period, the Penguin announcers were going, how can Pittsburgh have, after two periods, 42 attempted shots, and only 11 got through to a goaltender where he had to make a play and it was not on goal? Everything else was either poorly shot, didn't get there. The Flyers blocked 40 shots for the game. That's great team defense. That's phenomenal team defense. And I know that Martone's got a couple of goals, and they've played well enough offensively. Don't kid yourself. The reason that they're up 2-0 this series, 2 wins in Pittsburgh, is defense, and the guy at the back end of that defense, the goalie who's been as phenomenal as he has been.
9 minutes into the second period, the Penguins officially had 3 shots on goal. I mean, that's in game 2. I mean, that goes right to your point. I'll say what Matone has given them. What he has given them is this. With all the great defense, getting one additional goal scorer out there, and that's what he's been, that one additional goal scorer that can make a difference for you in a close game.
And I said this after watching him play a couple of games about his game. I said, if you need me to comp him to a former Flyer player, the guy that I would most compare him to right now is John LeClair. Because LeClair gave you both the ability to score from basically anywhere on the ice, but a big part of it being a guy who can just get in front, has great hands, can't be moved. He was reminding me more of Tim Kerr. And Tim Kerr is the best Flyer ever at playing in front of the net and just being a hound in front of him, score on rebounds and move guys out of the way. He's got a little bit more overall talent, or he's flashed a little bit overall talent than Timmy Kerr. He reminds me of LeClair, but when he's in the front of the net and has been phenomenal at it since he came to the Flyers, he's a Tim Kerr recreation for the Flyers, and man, have they needed that for years.
All right, now the Sixers, opening game, Boston, forget it. I said on the show yesterday, look, just so everybody knows, every game starts 0-0. Let's see how this one now plays out. And when the Celtics don't win, they don't hit threes. I mean, like in droves, they don't hit threes. And the Sixers took advantage of that last night. Their big guns, Maxey and VJ, were the big guns that you need to win a game like that on the road, and they did it.
That was one area, if you're matching up the two teams before it started, you could make an argument that the guards were close, and maybe even a slight advantage to Philadelphia, and that sure as hell proved itself out last night, the game that Edgecombe had. For him to be that good, that big, this early in his career, youngest ever to put up a 30-10 game in the history of the NBA, that was a spectacular performance by him. Maxey did what Maxey does. We're getting used to Maxey putting 29 points in big spots and huge shots, and we had seen that before, but we had not seen that out of Edgecombe. The Sixer backcourt is going to be locked in and great. For those who worried about the Jared McCain trade, why would you give a guy like that? He's not going to play. He's not going to play here.
That's right.
So, phenomenal output by both of the two guards, and that's what you need. Part of winning in the playoffs is you have to hope the other team doesn't have their best game on that given night. And the Celtics didn't. I'd love to say it's because of the great Sixer defense. I don't know that. They missed open threes. And the Sixers made their open threes, and that's how you win a game on the road in the playoffs.
Right. And again, the Celtics, in their current makeup, are not going to be a team that will pound it inside to the big man that will take care of business. So the Sixers don't have to worry about that part.
And even their big man, Vucevic, who played a lot of minutes last night,
he did.
He's just sitting outside shooting threes with him, and he couldn't throw the ball in the ocean last night. The Sixers don't have to worry about being dominated inside.
when Peyton Pritchard goes 0 for 4 in threes, you're looking around going, it could be our night. It could be. So now they go back to Philadelphia. They got some semblance of hope because if they protect home court, they've got it. So to you, what does Game 3 mean to you after what you saw last night?
If they want to win the series, I think they have to win both games at home. I didn't pick them to win the series at a time. I think Boston just has that much more talented a roster without Embiid, and they haven't counted Embiid out for Game 3. But I don't think he's playing in either two. I think the absolute earliest you could see him would be a Game 5 in Boston. So they're going to have to win 2 more games without him if they want to win the series. I think they have to defend their home court. They won home court last night with the victory. They have to win 2 straight home games. If not, it becomes a 3-game series. If they win 1 out of 2, which I think they will. I think we're going back to Boston, tied at 2, but that's still a major advantage for the Celtics. And, yes, they will be apt to defend their home court when the series goes back for game number 5.
I do have to ask you, how amazing do you think the Jason Tatum comeback has been, considering that injury?
Oh, maybe I sound like a jerk here, but I really wasn't all that surprised. With the surgery that he had, it wasn't as bad a surgery as you can have when you have that injury. Teams usually put a further date out, but I had heard things that he was working out. He wasn't doing team activities yet, but he was in very good shape, keeping up his cardio, everything else. It seemed to me like he was absolutely planning on being back for the playoffs. Now, to get back and get some regular season action, I couldn't have predicted that. Yeah. But I thought there was a good chance that he could get a game or 2 in just so he could hit the ground running. I wasn't that shocked because I know how motivated he was. The Celtics look like they're shocked because they decided to get rid of guys who won championships for them. And they had faith in the youngsters that they had were going to be able to step up and fill voids and the like. But I'm sorry, you trade off championship-type players, you make it look like it's a bye year, and you're not going to worry about being a championship contender. No, with those young guys who did step up, they found out they had the legit replacements for them. So give them credit for building it the way they did while looking different. And, when they got Jason Tatum back, second-best record in the East, I think they're the most talented roster in the East. The Sixers, it was a great win last night, and if they get 2 more in a row at home, then I'll be ready to eat words on the Sixers. I haven't yet. I had to on the Flyers. I haven't had to eat them yet on the Sixers, but that was a hell of a game last night.
It was. And sometimes, to Jody's point, sometimes with an injury, you'll hear a guy, he hurt his knee, he tore his ACL. And there actually is a Penn State player who tore his ACL last season, and it was only the ACL. Thus, his comeback is accelerated because there was no other damage around it. So that's to Jody's point. I mean, when you talk to doctors, it was an MCL, a PCL, an MCL. Like, oh, geez. When you only hear it's one and no other collateral damage, or in his case, the Achilles with no collateral damage, you have a better shot. Now, I'm not a doctor, though, but I'm trying
to
play
one on the radio from time to time.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing here. Okay, The Phillies have problems. Let me count the ways. I mean, 7. They haven't had this long a losing streak since 2019. When you watch them play, with all that baseball knowledge you got in your head, what the heck are you seeing?
Well, you sure I got all this baseball knowledge in my head? Because I said they're going to win 95 games against this year. They do not look like a 95-win team right now.
Yeah.
What I hung my hat on all off season, as Dombrowski didn't make any big deals, and when people were ready to run him out of town, and what is he doing? How can you not add? How can you run it back? I was actually okay with it because I was banking on not AI, internal improvement. Yeah. I thought some of the guys who've been here a couple of years would have a better year than they did last year, maybe a career year. And guys whose names I specifically put out there were Alex Boehm and Bryson Stott.
Yep.
Bryson Stott is just flat out bad, and Alex Boehm is worse. He's not even close to hitting his weight. He's down in the 120s.
I know.
And I was banking on him having an improved year. They banked on guys that they've developed, come through the organization, that it was the time for them to have the step-up season. They've stepped back badly. And when you've only got three guys at the top of the lineup that can hit, and everything else is a question mark at best, and most of them are being answered no right now, yeah, that's a bad offense.
Well, when you're looking at a guy, you're thinking, with the lineup they have, he could drive in 120 runs. Okay, well, the last thing you think is that, yeah, he's got 120, but that's his batting average. That's not good.
That's pretty sad. Thanks for making that analogy. You are well on and well accurate at this time. But I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Yes, sir.
Alec Boehm will get out of the 120 soon. He'll sneak his way back up to the Mendoza line at some point, and then hopefully go over it. I don't think he'll stay at 120. There are guys right now that are struggling. And Nebraska came out yesterday and said, we're a better team than this. We're not going to do anything drastic. We're going to win 40 games when you take your first real look at the team. Well, we're about 17 games away from the 40-game mark, and some of these guys better start picking it up, or they are going to make changes.
And by the way, if Stock goes Boehm goes 2 for his next 10, he will be up in the 130s, 140s. So he'll be on his way.
with a bullet, he'll be moving up.
Oh, absolutely. Zach Wheeler has done 5 rehab, and he'll be back, I think, Saturday against the Braves. What kind of lift can he give them if he can go out and give them 6 good Zach Wheeler innings to get things rolling for them?
I know that starting pitchers only pitch once every 5 days. So the other 4 days you'd say, well, he can't have any effect on the outcome of games. Yes and no. I think he can give them a much needed just attitude adjustment, attitude improvement. They'll know that they have, quote unquote, their ace back. And hopefully it plays off the other starters in the rotation. Luckily, we won't have to see Taiwan Walker anymore because that did work out a little bit. So, I know he's only going to be out there 1 out of every 5 games. If he does come back and find a way to win a game, just winning a game for the Phillies these days is a big deal. So if he can find a way to win on Saturday, even if it's just 4 innings, they're not going to push him. They're not going to overextend him. He'll be on a pitch count. I think it can give a lateral effect to the overall team if they get their ace back.
If you don't mind me asking, what's wrong with the Mets?
Oh, that's the only thing that's good about the Phillies. As god-awful, as ugly as they've been, they're not as ugly as the Mets. 7-7. You're going to lose 7 in a row. It's really hard to lose 12 in a row like the Mets have. Yeah, I did not think they were going to be the worst team in baseball and the next to worst team in baseball when the season started. I thought they were both 90-win teams. I thought the Mets were a little overrated. People were saying the Mets would be better than the Phillies. I many occasions said I'm more scared of the Braves than the Phillies than the Mets this year. The Braves are holding up the end of the bargain for me, but I didn't know the Phillies would be a game ahead of the Mets from last place. Yeah, really bad. I thought the Mets starting pitching was a little overrated. That's why I didn't pick them to finish with a better record than the Phillies. They've missed a couple of guys. Bichette has not jumped in there and given them what they paid $40 million for this year. I know they're going to get a couple guys back soon enough, but I think that there's a better chance that the Mets have dug themselves a hole that they can't get out of than the Phillies have.
There's always a silver lining, and the Mets at the moment are the Phillies' silver lining.
That's sad but true. Well stated, Steve Jones.
Jody Mac, welcome back. Happy, and was it your wife's birthday?
Yes, down in Louisiana. We went down to see in-laws and the like, and it was a great time down there. 20-hour drive from Jersey to Louisiana is no bargain, but the Flyers did make the tail end of it that much better.
Well, happy birthday to her from me. So thank you so much for your time. Always, to say I appreciate you would be an understatement.
Steve, always my pleasure, and I hope a couple of your nets get grabbed up over the weekend.
That'd be great.
Should be fun.
It should be fun. Thanks, Jody.
Always a pleasure.
The great, and I mean great, Jody McDonald, Jody Mac.